everyone! Today I will be doing my first recipe from the Game of Thrones cookbook. A feast of ice and fire. And today we will be doing Arya's Snitched Tarts. Now there are two different versions of this recipe in this book. There is the medieval version, which I will be doing, and the modern version. And today I will be joined by special guest Cree Carico. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Cree Carico and I'm the Queen Bee over at ButtaBeeFitness. But today I'm coming to you as Arya Stark of Winterfell, where I will be baking the modern version of the Arya tart and leading you through a fierce fighter Arya style workout. Until then, Valar Morghulis.
The modern version, which Cree will be doing, takes a little longer than the medieval version. So let's check in with her and see if winter has come yet. They cook and exercise.
All right, Hive, so the first part of this recipe says to take some puff pastry and roll it out into 11 by 11 inch square, but my puff pastry came that way, so awesome. Then it says to grab a cookie cutter. I don't have cookie cutter, so I am using a mason jar to cut this guy into circles. So here we go. The only cookie cutters I have are heart-shaped, and I feel like unless it's in the shape of an anatomical heart that Arya ripped from someone's body, that's probably not the most appropriate shape for these tarts. All right, so I'm a little bit confused at this point, but the recipe says to then, from the rest of the dough, cut slightly smaller rounds from the center of the remaining 8 rounds. So I'm just gonna use the pastry that's left. And since I don't have anything smaller, I've got a protein powder cup that I'm using to cut these little baby rounds. So we'll place those around the big guys. See, that's how we're doing that. I'm not even using a rolling pin, just squishing it with my hands. You know, Arya really missed the domestic part of her upbringing. Well, she missed all of her upbringing with her family. And decided to do some sword training instead, which I think was way more valuable. Since we know she's the hero of the whole darn thing. So here we are, and also being very lazy here, I'm pulling these apart so I don't have to roll them out. So here they are, slightly smaller rounds being baked together with the larger ones. So I wholly misunderstood that entire thing. You cut out the smaller rounds so that you can have a ring to go around the large round. So at this point, I'm just rolling this dough to make it into rings. And I'm going to place it around the outside of my big guys, like so. So this is why Sam does the baking, because I clearly have no idea what I'm doing. First, I must make an egg wash before I put the rings on the outside of my large circle. So here we go. I'm cracking an egg. I'm gonna just whip this egg into shape, just like I will whip you into shape as the freeze comes and during our bake time. So here we are, egg wash, delicious. We're gonna put that around just the outsides of these little rounds. Do it with my fingers. Here we go. All right, we're egg washing. Did you like that? I bet you did. These are not perfect rounds, by the way. They are sufficient. Again, I don't think Arya cares too much about the shape of the tart itself. How perfectly round it is. Who knows though, maybe this was part of faceless training. We're gonna be doing a little bit of that later. They have been egg washed. Okay, so again, because I am lazy and not much of a baker, I'm literally just going to take this puff pastry and pull it out until it's nice and long and make that my ring to place on top of these circles. So here we are. It's like a little snake noodle. Doesn't look too bad once it's on. Just gonna keep doing that. My leftover dough. Snaking it out. This is actually an arm workout on its own. You can do this. You can do this. I'm rooting for you. Just like we were rooting for Daenerys before she went cuckoo cuckoo, right? All right. But you know, again, Arya had to come in, save the day for everybody. Oh, we've got 2 rings on. How many left? 15. Cool. Just keep swimming, y'all. I think Sam picked the easy recipe. I'm getting faster the more I do. And then after this, it's the Great Freeze. Pretty cool, right? Then we'll get to do our workout. This one's a little fat. Now it's a little short. Wasn't Ed Sheeran on an episode of Game of Thrones? And wasn't that at Arya's request? Maybe I'm wrong. This might be a little strange Game of Thrones trivia that I'm making up. So I'll let you tell me if that's true. 6 done. I'm very proud of myself. This is probably all wrong. Just gonna put it out there now. Let's get ready for the Great Freeze.
Well, you could also take those to the wall. I hear it's freezing up there.
We're now ready for the Great Freeze. So these are going into the freezer. Hopefully they fit. Oh, perfect. For 30 minutes.
First thing you have to do for the medieval recipe is bring your wine and your honey to a boil. While I'm waiting for that to boil, I'm gonna pour myself a drink from the north. Isn't that just beautiful? That is delicious, yes it is. I look away for one moment and it has definitely boiled. So now it's ready to add the other ingredients after you'll lower the heat. Also, you're supposed to skim off the foam, so this is actually supposed to happen. The next ingredients you're going to need to add to your wine honey mixture is some red wine vinegar, raisins, dates, figs, and your Poldark forte spices, which are black pepper, clove, ginger. It does include some other spices I just didn't have. Like, oh, I do have cinnamon. I need to add that. But I do not have mace or the long pepper or grains of paradise. So good thing that's optional. So I have to chop the dates and figs. Whoops. You should probably do that before you start doing all of this boiling stuff to make this simple syrup. It's not as good as chopping up your enemies, but I suppose chopping up dates and figs will do. Now you're supposed to return this mixture to a boil. And then you turn it back down and you let it simmer for a while. Because, you know, we're just making a basic, simple syrup, if you can call this basic. You'll know when it's done when you can lightly coat the back of your spoon. Or in my case, spatula. While that is on a low simmer, we are going to start making one batch of medieval sweet dough, which you can find at the beginning of this book. For medieval sweet dough, you're gonna need some sugar. Obviously, it's sweet. I don't know if you could consider Arya sweet though. And you're gonna need lots and lots of flour, some salt, cold water, and a very special ingredient, saffron. It was like I don't know, the chocolate of the Middle Ages. I say that because it's in almost every medieval recipe. And yes, it's starting to feel a lot like Dorn in here. First thing you should do before you start the whole flour sugar process is put your 2 teaspoons of saffron in some cold water to dissolve so it's ready to go. The directions do say you may need some more water to add to this medieval sweet dough. It should be a lot like a pie crust. And I'm definitely going to need to add some extra water. Next thing you got to do is take your dough, roll it out to a 1/4 inch, and cut it into circles. Now get your pan out because we're gonna do some frying. It's not the most graceful weapon, but you know, it will do in a pinch. Especially if you're baking pies made of people. Very careful while making this recipe. It is very easy to burn yourself. Now I have a little finger. My simple syrup still is not very syrupy, but I have baked all of the bottoms. It is really easy to burn them once you get going, so just be aware. Some of mine have gotten burned. I'm not sure if I have 50 though. I have quite a bit, but technically the recipe says this should make about 50. I don't think it quite did that. But maybe I made them a little too thick. I don't know. For any of my British friends out there who watch the show, this recipe is very much the ancestor of the Jammy Dodger. While we wait for that simple syrup to become simple syrup, I'm gonna take a page out of Arya's book and sneak one of these just to see how they taste. That's pretty good. That's really good. I mean, you can't go wrong with sugar, right? My spoon is coated. That means the syrup's done. The syrup is done. Now you just need to coat each one of your bases with a little bit of this mixture, and it says it will soften it. Although when I bit mine was a bit gooey in the inside, so I think I made mine a little too thick. I need a break after all this cooking. I don't know about you, Cree, but I'm ready for an Arya workout. Stick 'em with the pointy end.
All right, let's do this, Sam. Let's get training like Arya. Stark! So while we wait for our tarts to freeze, we're gonna get warmed up for our fighter workout. Now we all know that Arya's trusty little sword is called needle. So our first move is a thread the needle. We'll do it for 1 minute. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come down onto all fours. Our palms are under our shoulders, our knees are under our hips. We're gonna reach up to the sky, rotating our torso, thread that arm through, and touch our shoulder to the ground. Reach up, shoulder to ground. We'll do that on the other side. For 1 minute total, 30 seconds each side. Then we're gonna grab needle. If you're in the kitchen, you can always grab a butter knife. I've got this beautiful little sword with me today, and we are going to lunge forward and pierce into our enemies. Lunge forward, pierce into our enemies. Lunge forward and pierce. Again, 1 minute. Then we grab our staff. Again, if you're in a kitchen, you can go ahead and grab a broom, whatever you've got, and we're gonna do jumping jacks. This is our faceless training. Jumping jacks, rotating our staff side to side. You got it? All right, let's get moving. Okay, here we go. This is our inner mixture. So the next step in our recipe is to take the cheese, lemon juice, and salt and mix it in a bowl. Ooh, you know what it smells like? So far it smells like cheesecake, which smells delicious. I'm about as aggressive as Arya Stark after that warm-up I've just done. Here we go. We're mixing our cheese. We're mixing our salt. Are you sure we can make a cheesecake soon? It smells delicious. Okay. Cheese is looking pretty good and mixed. And then the next step after cheese is to cut up some apples. So, ooh, I wonder if my needle would work. This probably will not work as a knife, but I'm gonna try it. That's what Arya would do. I can spear the apple. I couldn't quite cut it. All right, we try again. I'm a pro at this. My sink's getting real messy. It says 3 apples. I don't really think we're gonna need 3, but I'm gonna cut 2 and see if 2 is enough for us. Cutting apples. An apple a day has been said to keep the doctor away. Okay, 2 apples cut. Now, butter and honey. Huh, I remembered. How much butter do we have? We have 3 tablespoons melted, 1/4 cup honey. Okay, 3 tablespoons. We'll cut it right there. And get a little cup. Toss it in the microwave for a few seconds. Ooh, I love butter. A lot of people think health nuts don't do the butter thing. I love butter. In fact, fats are really important for our bodies, so don't forget to eat your fats and your carbs. We're doing that today. So, 10 seconds. I'm gonna lick the butter off my fingers because it's delicious. It looks like it needs another 10. And get the honey out. Also very on brand for ButtaBeeFitness. Gotta love the beads, you know? Okay, butter. Look at that. Golden and delicious. Yum. I'm really excited to eat these. I'm also getting a workout just squeezing this honey. Okay. You think that's a 1/4 cup yet, friends? I don't know, my biceps feel like it's a 1/4 cup, so I might just stop. Here we go. We're calling that a 1/4 cup of honey. And I'm gonna mix that with the butter. Ooh, honey butter. That'd be so good on biscuits. How terrible for me if I just spilled it on the counter, which I think means that I get to lick it. I'm gonna do it. Does Arya have utensils? I think not. I can't believe I just did that, but to be completely honest, I once kissed the floor of Sun Studios where Elvis once recorded, so this is really nothing in comparison. Plus, I cleaned my kitchen this morning. Delicious! All right. Once I unfreeze this, we'll get it topped. Okay, so I've just taken these out of the freezer. I may have left them in a little bit longer than they were supposed to be in there. Got a little carried away with my warming up. So now we're taking our goat cheese mixture. We're sticking it on the inside of these rounds. They're like little hockey pucks. Arya could probably use them as a weapon. Some of them got a little wonky, like I'm not sure what happened to this one. But it's cool. Just stick the cheese on top, no one will see it. And then on top of this goes the apples, methinks. So next we stick little apples on top. I think I made mine too small. In the picture, the apples do not completely cover these cute little things. So, lesson learned, use a larger mason jar. But that's okay. Okay, apples are going on. I think 2 apples was the correct amount, not 3. So I'm proud of myself there. And extra apples is what we have. Now we drizzle our butter atop. I'm actually gonna use a spoon to help me here. There's butter on our apples. And then our last step will be some allspice and nuts. Last bit of butter. Just drizzle it all over everything. Yum. And look. Yep. Honey butter and goat cheese. Allspice. Brand new. Needs opened. And then we have delicious ginger, turmeric, cashews. It says to use candied nuts. These are my favorites, so this is what I'm gonna use. And then we bake for 35 minutes. This is maybe my most challenging workout thus far. Sprinkles. So we will take these, stick them in the oven, and get to Arya's list. In they go.
In case any of you were wondering, this chart comes from the book A Clash of Kings. She flitched one anyway and ate it on her way out. It was stuffed with chopped nuts, fruit, and cheese, the crusty, flaky, and still warm from the oven. Eating Sir Amori tart made Arya feel daring, barefoot, surefoot, lightfoot. She sang under her breath, "I am the ghost of Harrenhal." It's in the book. I love it when these geeky cookbooks have the quotes from the actual book. It's the best.
Now, as we all know, a girl has no name, but there are 13 people on Arya's hit list who do have names. So our workout today is in honor of each of them. Now, Arya only manages to kill 4 of the 13. So each exercise we will do 13 reps of 4 times through. We begin with Walder Frey, responsible for the red wedding and killing of mom and brother, and many important characters. Also, sorry for the spoilers. I hope you've seen Game of Thrones. Doo-doo-doo! Here we go. Goblet squats. Grab yourself a goblet, press into it lightly to engage your lats. Send your booty backwards into a squat and thrust up at the top. Again, engage your lats by pressing into the object. Stick your booty backwards and thrust at the top, engaging the strongest muscle in our bodies, your glutes. Then, for our brothers, the Hound and the Mountain, we're gonna start in a plank. To get into a plank, we'll put our hands beneath our shoulders, we'll walk our feet back, hold our plank, then we'll go up into a downward dog for the Hound. We'll come back up, bring knee to elbow for what's called a mountain climber. Again, we send our booty up and back down, knee to elbow, knee to elbow. We'll move through that 13 times for the Hound and the Mountain. Now, the Hound, when you go up into down dog, it's actually really nice because he's secretly really nice. It takes the pressure off our shoulders. So even if you're not somebody who loves a plank, this will really help you as you work towards doing your very own plank. Anywho, next, we're getting down on the ground. 4, 3 very controversial characters. Joffrey, Darcy, and Melisandre. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lay down on our backs. Our legs will go straight up in the air, and we are going to spell their names as if our legs were a quill. So we'll start with a J for Joffrey. N-O-F. And F in your very best script through Joffrey, Cersei, and Melisandre. And then, for Arya's best kill of them all, again, spoiler alert, the Night King. So the way we kill the Night King, we're gonna take Needle, and we're gonna jump squat and stab. So, to jump squat, we send our booty back, our feet are right under our hips, and we press into those heels to jump up. Now, when we jump up, our arms are gonna go up, then we come back down with a needle to get the Night King. You got it? Up, and got the Night King. Up, and get the Night King. Up, and get the Night King. Got it? Let's go get him.
Fun fact, I know Cree, the queen bee, has been doing special fun themed women workouts for Women's Month. And just so everyone knows, the people who made this cookbook are women. Okay, time to try Arya's Snitched Tarts. Here we go. Those are pretty good. I would eat this again. How are the modern versions, Cree?
So the tarts are out of the oven and ready for tasting. It may be cold in Winterfell, but this brings the fire. This is delicious. Puff pastry is perfectly flaky. The cheese is tart. The nuts, delicious as ever. And the apples, sweet. I love it. Now, if you loved what we did today, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.